Welcome back to Aligned and Alive. I have a very special episode here today. My dear friend, Annalie Howling, lives in the UK. And of course, many of you know she's joining me this April at our retreat in Paradise Valley. It's our 3.5-day immersion. It's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning on this gorgeous 5-acre estate it's in Paradise. That's why they call it Paradise Valley. For those that are on that, I'm not quite sure because I'm not sure what it's all about. I said, Annalie, why don't we just hop on a call and talk about it? So that's what we are doing. And for those of you who have signed up, we are so excited and cannot wait to connect with you in person on April 6th. Quick backstory. I started attending retreats back in 2001 when I moved here to Arizona. I actually moved to Arizona in 1999. And right around 2000 is when I started hopping into the retreat space. I wanted to dive deeper, get into more breath work, meditation, visualization, all the things that many retreats offered. This is 26 years ago. Not that I'm trying to date myself, but that's what it was. It was just a way for women and men to come together to connect in community, to hold space for one another and talk about challenging things that are coming up. And so this is just a wonderful way to really deepen human connection if it's done in a safe container. When you have a safe environment that is formed and held with so much integrity, these retreats, these immersions and workshops, however you want to call them, can become the very catalyst for your next level of expansion and healing. And so this one I started curating many months ago is going to involve Tracy O'Malley. She's an incredible coach, works with a lot of high-level executives and professionals here in Arizona and beyond, all over the world. She's worked for John Deere, Yahoo, Google. Tracy is the real deal, and she is an Enneagram expert, specifically helping you figure out, to put it in layman's terms, why you do what you do, and showing you your true support systems that you have in order to rise above and navigate life with so much more precision and decisive decision making. And also how you work with others, how you handle other people that may not be of your same personality. I mean, we're all different in our own unique ways. And when we can really understand and dive deep into why we do what we do, and maybe understanding someone else's perspective when we may not understand why they do what they do. So this really helps merge relationships in general, not just romantic, but also platonic. And of course, those professional relationships that we have in business. So Tracy will be there on Monday morning, leading us in a 3-hour Enneagram immersion. I cannot wait. And then we're going to have a lunch prepared by our private chef, Katarina. Ooh, Katarina is so amazing and delicious. She, hands down, I tell her this all the time. I just had breakfast with her the other day. Hands down is the best chef I have ever experienced in my life. And she's just special and unique and prepares a lot of farm to table organic meals, really outside of the box thinking, especially if somebody has a food allergy or anything of the sort to navigate around that. She is a genius in that. Very special, one of one. I always tell her she's one of one, and she will be in charge of all of our meals throughout the retreat. And then I will lead on Monday. I'm going to bring you into a session of pattern to purpose. So it really bridges from Tracy's session into what I'm going to be offering on the patterns that you have created throughout your lifetime and bridging that into purpose, really diving deep into your purpose and where that's going to take you next. And then I'm going to be joined by Carrie Ballou, who is the owner and founder of Shanti Sound here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And Carrie and I are merging together with sound frequency and guided hypnosis. So this is going to be a powerful 90-minute session. If you can picture this, on this lush green landscaping, 5 acres, complete with unobstructed views of Camelback Mountain, beautiful, waterfalls, a massive koi pond. There's king palms everywhere throughout the property. Dozens and dozens and dozens cover this estate. And so this was intentionally, highly intentionally chosen to pair this experience on this property. Everything I do is intentional, down to the facilitators and what they bring to the table, and curating this magnificent group of humans that will also come together and be able to create long lasting connections that are so therapeutic. It's not just the brilliance of Tracy and Annalie and what I also bring to the table. It's the collective community. It's the collective curation of this specific experience. So it's focusing on, what are you protecting that is quietly costing you everything? And I want you to sit with that question just for a moment, because we all do that in some way or another. There's something that we are always protecting to some degree that's really costing us everything. It's costing us that next level of expansion or growth or opportunity. So this allows you the space to be able to let go, to distinguish and understand and pinpoint what that is. That is what this retreat is all about. So you can rise to your greatest potential. So you can reclaim your power. Yes. Like, imagine walking around with calm confidence, not loud, not look at me, not attention seeking. No, calm confidence where you feel so comfortable in your own skin, where you're no longer seeking validation from everyone, or maybe it's just one, but you're no longer seeking validation. You are strong and confident and assured on your own. You are deeply connected and aligned in your gifts and who you are. That is what you will receive from this retreat experience. And that, my friends, is something that I fully have been able to experience. And this comes after years and years and years of my own healing and transformation and evolution. And I'm still evolving, which is so fun. I've always said I love being a student of this work, and I also love being a teacher. I love both parts of it. When you are immersed in that journey, it's something you begin to embody, not that you teach. And I can say that with clarity. I can say that with conviction, that the women joining me, Tracy O'Malley and Annalie Howling and myself, we all embody everything that we teach. We don't sit on a pedestal. We're not gurus. We're none of that. We are in it with you. We get it. We've done the work. We're doing the work. We're always showing up inside of what we live and embody. This is so important. Whether you want to come to this retreat or you want to seek out another one, that's fine. All I'm saying is make sure that you are aligned with leaders that are actually embodying the very thing that they are teaching. Super important. And have experience in doing so. Tracy comes with decades of experience. I have decades of experience working with humans one-on-one and in group settings. So does Annalie. She's worked with former UK Special Forces, elite athletes, professional golfers, football players, everyone across the board, and extremely high net worth individuals. So you want to seek out the people that have done it, are doing it currently. Very, very important. So circling back to what you might be suppressing or protecting, this is an opportunity to release and allow yourself to evolve and expand and grow into your greatest potential. And we're going to be doing this with a series of different modalities and practices and session work. I just gave you an overview on Monday, what that looks like. I left off with Katerina. I was just thinking like where I left off. It was with Katerina and her amazing lunch and dinners that she'll be providing us with nourishment, nourish our bodies and recalibrate our nervous system. That alone is so impactful. And then, of course, the breathwork sessions, EMDR therapy that Annalie can provide, the hypnosis, the group activities. There's so much we are offering inside of this immersion. You will not leave. On Thursday morning, you will not leave the same person. You will feel an internal shift. There's no doubt in my mind. And that's the biggest takeaway, in my opinion, is that oftentimes when you go to events or workshops, it's logic, right? You're like, yeah, that sounds great. I totally understand that. And I get that. And mindfully, you can really understand and sink into that. Mindset alone does not work. Take it from somebody who's been on this path almost my entire life. And I have gone deep in mindset work for a big portion of my career in early on in health and wellness. It was a lot of mindset work. I'm a former competitive athlete in figure skating and fitness, and that requires a level of mental toughness that you cannot not have in order to compete at a high level in those sports. So yes, that plays a huge part. But then one of the other massive components to this transformational experience is somatic. Your body keeps the score. And so you can logically understand so much of a subject or an exercise or what you should do. Oftentimes it's strategy. Like, I got the strategy down. I have this down. I have my morning routine, like whatever that looks like. Oftentimes that's locked in. What's not is the body, and the body keeps the score. And eventually it's going to erupt in some sort of way if you do not adhere to these somatic practices. And so we have a lot of modalities and exercises that we will be bringing you through during this experience and our time together. All right. So at this time, I am going to bring on Annalie, and you'll be able to hear more about her. She's magnificent. I've known Annalie for a couple years now. She was on my podcast in person during the Nashville tour almost a year ago, and she's been through it and she's healed it, and she still shows up. And here's the biggest thing that I love about Annalie. She is so real. And she and I are both of the same mindset. And I know Tracy is too. We are not on pedestals. We don't put ourselves on pedestals. We don't want to be on a pedestal. We're not gurus. We're not here trying to speak from above, down below. That's not how we operate. We are in the trenches with you. We are crying with you. We are holding your hand. Like, we truly are passionate about the work we do. And so bringing Annalie into this experience was just a no-brainer. We actually talked about it in Nashville. We were done with our episode, and she just looked at me and grabbed my arm, and she's like, I want to do all the things with you. I want to do the retreats. I want to do this. I was like, we are doing it. So that quote unquote manifestation that we spoke into existence a year ago has now manifested into reality. It's here. And so I'm honored to lead this with her. She is truly a magnificent human being. And I'm so grateful for all of you to get to know her even more, as I have been able to over the last year specifically. I would like to say, prior to bringing her on, just sit with it. See if this is something that resonates with you. And if you just have a nudge, if you just have that whisper that was like, gosh, I really need to be there, then please reach out to me. Please, please, please don't hesitate. Message me through Instagram, or if you have my cell number, text me right away, or you can email hello@chrissymay.com. Please just get in touch and we will talk it over and how to get you inside of this special experience, because I don't want you to miss out. Annalie may not be back for a long time. And I do know that she, as she will mention when I bring her on, that she won't be doing one-on-one sessions anymore, not very much going forward. So this is a great opportunity specifically to get in front of her, to work with her one-on-one inside of a beautiful retreat setting. Why not? With that being said, I'm going to bring her on. So enjoy. Hello, hello. You look so gorgeous. Wow.
Oh, thank you. I have my
Where are you going tonight?
Amber's literally here, by the way, having dinner.
Oh, hi. How are you, Amber?
Great. We're going to do a surprise World Book Day tomorrow. So she's going to get her done later as well.
Ooh, so fancy. I love it. So why don't we just start with I want to just go with your background. So for those
Mhm.
that don't know you and like your history, your story,
Mhm.
I mean, obviously I do, but I'd love for you to share Annalie with everyone.
Oh, of course, thank you. So, actually, very delighted. So, thank you for giving me this platform to say that I have very recently been voted Spears #2 global performance coach, which is really exciting. I didn't know. Thank you. I knew I had an interview for it towards the end of last year, but it was all announced in January, which was amazing. I didn't know I was going to be in at #2. So that's really exciting. That was kind of acknowledging the work that I do and have done with athletes. So I work with Olympians, I work with a lot of golfers, really elite performers in sport, but also I like to look at kind of the elite performance that's required in, frankly, any role, motherhood, corporate athlete. I do an awful lot of work with financial institutions, people sort of managing work and life. And I always say I don't really subscribe to that. There is no such thing as work-life balance. It's whole life balance. And when that's a bit off, we have to look at where we need some extra support, which is sort of what this really high performance coaching in this retreat is going to offer to people. So that's sort of one of my kind of speciality areas. And I've also done a lot of work with the UK ex Special Forces as well. So again, people that have, been fully at the top of their game and looking at techniques and tools to work around, whether it's mindset, emotions, as I say, and whatever may be feeling out of whack in their life at that time. And particularly transitions, in the military in the UK and in sports, you're a hero and then you're not. And you really lack that sense of not even purpose. It's the community aspect and the even routine or having to find out who you are again without something that's been a massive part of your life. I mean, that can also be said for going through a divorce. I'm a divorce, I'm a single parent, my daughter's here tonight. That is a big part of your identity and things shift. So that's really a big passionate area of mine. And the performance coaching is a huge cornerstone and foundation of the work that I do.
I love that you brought up the transitional period because it's so in alignment with what we're talking about at the retreat. It's getting rid of the old story. It's stepping into a whole new identity and a way of being, like who you really, really are. People, whether it's a transition of a divorce, a breakup, a career or role, maybe you were a stay-at-home mom and now, they've left the nest and you're an empty nester. And
Yeah.
it's just like, who am I now? So I just think it's transition of life story. And what does that look like next for you?
And I think as well, when you've been, it'd be interesting for you to speak to this, when you've been at the top of something, I work with a lot of high net worth, ultra high net worth. I work with self-made billionaires, and I also work in a very amazing clinic in Switzerland that's incredibly elite and, again, for private help for people with addiction, but that can also be exhaustion and burnout. It's not just substance. And I think when you maybe have some privilege in your life, you can deny yourself help. You can say, but I'm so fortunate. I've done this career. I've got food on the table. I'm not other people have got it worse than me. That's what I hear a lot when I start working with someone that in some ways either been a very high performer or has had, success or wealth or whatever it may have been. I've got it better than the people. What have I got to complain about? You're like, trauma doesn't discriminate, my friend. Stress, trauma, burnout, sadly, that does not discriminate. Like, it's going to find you when it finds you. But I do find that a lot of people that perhaps have some privilege in a certain area of their life, they maybe deny themselves access to help because they feel they should either have it together or there's so much luck in other people. And I kind of really want to offer that lens because that's certainly been an experience of a lot of my clients is, well, I should be able to sort this out or I'm so lucky.
Almost prideful way, right? Like, I'm not going to ask for help because I know everything. And if I do ask for help, then I'm weak and I'm not a strong human being. Do you see that a lot?
Yeah, definitely that. And then also people don't want to take the place of someone else they think maybe needs it more. And I just, that's if you're not feeling like yourself in any way, step into asking someone for help. There is no, like I say, trauma, the work that I do in that field, pain, discomfort, just honestly not feeling like you anymore and not knowing who the next you is. I think that's one of the trickiest times for me. That was the most anxious I've ever felt is I'm leaving one life or the known and I know I can't be here anymore because it's causing me a great deal of pain, but I don't yet no, no one's given me the key and a map saying, hey, follow this route and you'll be all fine. Because of course you would have done it. I don't yet know where I'm going, and it can feel really discombobulating, and it can lead to huge anxiety. So yeah, anyone that's feeling like that at all, yeah, please find your way to someone or something that can help you.
Yes. And this retreat is a great opportunity, isn't it? So I would love to, I'm going to paint the picture for anybody who wants to know what really is going on inside this amazing experience. So on Monday, we're going to have Tracy O'Malley, who's phenomenal. She's worked with John Deere, Google, Yahoo, Fortune 100 companies. She's an Enneagram expert, which is going to help you dive deep into understanding why you do what you do and so much more. I'm going to lead a session myself into pattern to purpose. Then we're going to dive deep into the subconscious mind, releasing those old, outdated stories with sound frequency and a guided hypnosis. And then this beautiful human being is going to jump in. And so if you can kind of just go into a few details, and everything understood with the retreats is so fluid, because when you're in the moment, it really depends on the group, right? Like what's coming up for them and how we navigate that. So just, I guess, as a loose overview, like how do you see it really unfolding for the 2 days you'll be with us on Tuesday and Wednesday?
Sure. So, I mean, a lot of people don't know, because I think a lot of people don't know that about me or about life, but I'm what's called an organizational relationship systems coach. And what that means is a system is anything greater than one. You're in relationship with so many people, partners, friends, co-workers. And when you go on a retreat, you're in relationship. That group has a relationship. We become a system. So by the time I turn up, I'm going to be looking at what's emerging in the system, what's coming out, what's the richness, what's the emotions, what do we need to, you're releasing through sound. So when I step in, we're really going to kind of go in there and look for the outdated software that's running our life now. Where is it that we've got these old patterns, old belief systems that have probably been given to us. It's very rare that we run on systems that we have created for ourselves sometimes, but they're underlying limiting beliefs. And these things can truly be at the steering wheel of your whole life. So I want to get into the stories that we're telling ourselves. Where is shame and an underlying limiting belief about ourselves? I am not enough. I am unworthy. I am broken. I'm a failure. Where are some of these beliefs within us? Let's find it and identify it first, because when we can get hold of that and some of the origin and where it's showing up for us, we can then look at how maybe we're self-sabotaging. Because if you have a belief system that you're not enough and you're not worthy and you want love, you're going to find a nice, secure partner and you're going to do your very level best in some way to sabotage that. If you're reaching for the stars for a fantastic opportunity, but you feel like a failure or you feel bad or disgusting, these are words that clients have said to me. These are not things that I'm offering up. You're not going to want to be seen, because you're going to be really afraid that people are going to judge you and reject you. So by us doing an exercise that I'm going to lead around the kind of the story that we tell ourselves, where shame is playing a role in our, like I say, limiting beliefs and our limiting behaviors, we're going to be releasing that stuff. That stuff is going. So we're going to be doing an exercise to release it. That's going to be getting burned. We're not carrying that with us any further. There's a couple of things that I want to do. I don't necessarily want to say all of it because it's a really amazing experience. I want there to be a few surprises in how I do this. I've done this 3 or 4 times at a retreat. I'm doing it at my retreat in the UK 2 weeks before ours. It's a very emotional, very physical experience that we're going to be having, sort of stepping out of one old, outdated view into what we want it to be. Now, that's amazing because we're on retreat together, and let's get real for a minute. We've all got to go back to our real lives. So when you're, again, in this new relationship system, you're showing up as your real self, no masks, no performance. People are getting to see you as you really, really are. You're making these deep, beautiful connections and friendships because you're who you really are and who you want to be. People are cheering for you, more importantly, going, yes, you can do that. You can do that. I remember I had a beautiful lady in a retreat who was so desperate to do her own business, and she kept having her inner critic, these limiting beliefs that she couldn't. She's running it now. All of us are still like absolutely cheering for her. She is flying out there, because it was stepping into it and witnessing it all. Now we come towards the end of the retreat, which we're doing together as well. And we have to start preparing to take what we've learned, who we're becoming, and the connections that we've made out into the world again, and really get ready for that. So there's another exercise that I do there to prepare ourselves for the transition back through. And I think I'm probably allowed to say, but something that I wanted to do, because I live across oceans, I travel across oceans, and we're going to do an exercise where we write something to our future selves to help us remember how we feel in that moment. and I'm going to take them to Britain over the seas. And my favorite Dracula quote is, I crossed oceans of time to find you. And those letters will cross oceans of time to come back and find us again, and just reconnect in these moments back to that essence of how we were and how we wanted to be. It's the accountability and making a promise to ourselves to, are we going to do everything the same? Probably not, because we've got, but we can integrate the beauty and the joy and our free selves into the way that we live our lives. So this isn't just, I've been on a lot, I'm sure you have, flim flam, bumper stickers, nice to have, thanks very much, hug, goodbye. It's not that. This is not that. This is deep immersion, deep sharing. That is where real connections are made. That is where you really do come away with friends and cheerleaders for life. So say, seeing you as you actually are. And then there's the integration of who you want to be, the reclamation of your power, this new narrative, and how you're going to carry yourself out into the world, and then the accountability around it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that you really dial in the integration part, because that is such a massive piece that most people forget. Like you just mentioned, they just come together, they have this woo-woo experience, and everybody's on this incredible high naturally and rightfully so. And then it's like goodbye, or there's very little integration after the fact. And so I'm a huge advocate of integration and really carrying it through long after. And so what I've even done is scheduled a call with everyone 2 weeks on a Zoom where we can all come back together and speak on what's coming up, because a lot of times you don't even see it until a week or two after an experience, like things are kind of purging and coming out additionally on top of what you've already experienced inside the retreat. So yeah, I love that part of it. It's such an important part to speak on.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's just going to be, Tracy's kind of kicking things off, and then for you and I to be working people through this. Let's be honest, you're changing. Like, one of my favorite stories is the transition of the Phoenix. Like, lots of people don't know this. I have heavy Scorpio placements. I'm massively into this. But the Scorpio, or the Scorpion, I think we can all identify with this, has the hard outer shell because it's so soft inside and it's been wounded, it's been betrayed. It doesn't. And then the next phase for the Scorpion, it's not straight to being a Phoenix. You become an eagle. So the next phase is an eagle, where you've got the wisdom of what's happened to you, and you're above everything, just in that kind of really quiet place. But you're surveying, if you like, the wreckage, who stays in, who did what comes in, what goes out. You're just holding yourself on that breeze and that wind. And then the final phase is the Phoenix, where we rise from and taking with us what we need to take, leaving behind what we don't, and integrating all of those lessons. And that's what I think this arc of this retreat is going to be. Most of us are coming together because there's either a behavior of ours, something's happened to us externally, probably a mix of both, let's be honest. And we want to come through and have this opportunity to survey and be held safely by ourselves as instructors, the beautiful ceremonies that you've got happening. I know some of the cool brands that are coming in as well to assist with this, the amazing food, the stunning place, to be able to give yourself the peace, that eagle, no noise, to survey and assess your life, and for you to make that choice for yourself, to not be impacted or influenced by others, either well-meaning or, maybe some not so well-meaning, but it's irrespective. This is your choice of what you're going to do. And then that's the reclamation moment. That's the moment we take our power and we soar, and you don't look back.
It's the best, most delicious feeling in the entire world. Like, there's no greater feeling when you can fully feel so confident in your own skin, and you give 0 F's to what anybody else has to say. Like, you know my story, what I went through last year, and like where I'm at right now. It has only been November, December, January, 4 months. And in 4 months, the transition I've experienced is profound. And so, yes, when we can absolutely have this next level moment within a week's time, within 3 days time. So I feel like people put way too much pressure and like a stigma that you can't have a transformation in 3.5, 4 days. And that's so untrue.
Interestingly, that's probably their inner critic, or it's someone who is committed to them staying small/broken. So a naysayer is either someone that would never do the work on themselves. And I'm always like, why would you take directions from someone that's never left home? Like, if this person, if they're saying to you, that'll never work, what are they doing? Like, if they're doing all the stuff, then cool. If they're not, thank you so much, but I'm probably going to make my own choice here. And then the other part of that is the inner critic being like, but you've done all these things, you've invested all this money, you've tried this, you've done all, how can this possibly work? With my EMDR sessions, how many sessions do I need? One, that's it. I'll process an event that has troubled you your whole life that you have flashbacks about in one session. Oh no, but it can't. It does. And I've got hundreds of testimonials to prove, so, but it feels too good to be true. And I was that person. I went through, I speak very openly about it. I used to self-harm. I went through a chronic anxiety. I used to have Botox injected into my jaw to stop me crunching it, not in my forehead, which I'm happy to have done. That was paying to have it not in a nice way. It was like I had all of these, it was so horrible. The pain that I had running down my neck, this constant anxiety. And the idea that something could just work like that, at that point when you're so broken, you want to try it, you want to believe it, but it's almost like if I get hurt or disappointed by one more thing, I think I'll just collapse and I can't take it. So if that is like happening for someone as well, obviously do your due diligence, if this is sounding like it's something that people want, but transformation can happen in one conversation. I've had conversations with people and met people and gone, oh my God, you see me and that's it. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. I love just even teeing up on the fact that environment is so crucial. That is to put yourself around those cheerleaders, those ones that don't judge, that truly hold space for you to understand you. Like there's a level of empathy that is just felt. And I feel like a lot of people are a little scared entering to a lot of these immersions or retreats because they're scared of what someone might say or judge them, or even additional shame that may come up inside these containers. I think that's one sticking point for a lot of people. And the one thing that we dial in is that Annalie and I definitely hold a tremendous amount of safe space for so many people and have done it for years and years and years.
Yeah, I think that's a part of it, especially I'm obviously not local, I'm flying in, but, I remember doing coach training. Everyone's like, hold up your hand if you're going to keep confidentiality, and you do it and you mean it, but it's a bit flimsy, so I totally get that. And I think it is really important that trust and confidentiality, because you might see someone in the store again, and they've said that they're really unhappy in their relationship, for example. I think another reason people hold off coming, and this is personal that I can speak to. And so when I do mine the first day, because I'm mischievous as well, but I do this on purpose. I don't make people kind of do an introductory circle immediately because they're so nervous, and because it's almost too overwhelming. It's too difficult to say who you are and why you're here and what you're hoping to get from it. Because to be honest, a lot of people don't know. I remember going on one and I knew pretty much that my marriage was in a really dark place, but I was looking for anything and everything that might save it. I wasn't ready to admit that things were, or perhaps I didn't yet know, and I was seeking an answer either way, but I was definitely going in with a view to finding an answer that would save it. This particular course showed me that it was no one's fault, but I could never remain in the container of my marriage with my ex-husband. We have a great relationship now, all of us, like it's the right thing. But I remember being there on the last morning doing the check-in and crying my eyes out in a group of people that had become so close. That was 3 days, by the way, everyone. That was three days in a yoga studio in London. And it was the third morning, and I remember being in floods of tears because I realized I didn't want to go home, because I knew that going home meant that I had to have a conversation, which meant that I was starting a change, and I didn't yet know what that was going to lead to. So I know there are lots of people that will be interested in this, and I'm speaking to those people that know that something in their life, maybe it's a friendship, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's work, there could be a family, there could be a myriad of things happening. You perhaps don't know the outcome, and that makes shame, or the inner critic is like, how can you go on this retreat and spend this money if you don't know what you're going to do? I didn't know what I was going to do. And the not knowing, like I say, was the most anxious place I've ever spent in my life. And I never want to go back there. And it was a group of people on a 3-night retreat that took me back to myself in a way that I could never have done on my own, and witnessed me in a way that just allowed me to realize, and I say this kindly to my ex, we have a very, very good relationship, I never regretted my decision. Because I realized from that course, and that would have been terrible if I'd made a decision and flipped. It was lockdown, by the way, so imagine regretting it on lockdown. I knew at that point who I was, and it didn't make anyone wrong. And the me that I am, and I still remain to this day, could not remain in the container of that relationship. So I would say to anyone that is also worried what might come out, we're worried about being a mess. Like my book is called Unapologetic, because we talked about this on the podcast when we met. the first word that comes out of your mouth when you get upset is, oh, I'm sorry, sorry. Oh, Chrissy, sorry, sorry. Because I think my emotions are messy and too much for you. And I have to excuse myself. And in some way, I'm like asking too much of you by me being emotional, and I should be perfect and I should have it all together. I don't have it all together, even now. You know, like I will cry on the retreat. 100% I'll cry on mine. I'll be crying in Phoenix. There'll be a time where we're like, oh, here she goes again. I'll be crying at some point. I'll cry at someone's transformation. I'll cry about something random. Like, and I never used to be a crier. It's quite a new thing for me. So, you know, this is like, I'm like Cameron Diaz in The Holiday. This is still quite a new thing. But that was something that was so turned off and locked out of me that it was through doing these kind of group works and experiences that I'm now so comfortable with that, you know. And I think being able to be in that space and bring the emotion that you're not sure what's going to come up for you and do it anyway is deeply courageous. And as you say, having a container of trust with experienced facilitators, practitioners, a very safe environment. I'd love you to talk more about that, because that was one of the things that for me, I was like, oh God, yes, get me there. Like a really safe space. You know, you're not going to have people like clattering around, or, you know, people having a business meeting over here. Like this is in someone's really opening up and revealing something. This is a place to take your time to really let every layer in at your pace kind of come away, and what you need to explore, like the opportunities for group work on the grounds. You know, I get people to work together in the group. You know, you and I have talked about this, and, you know, the opportunities for these different places that you can walk the grounds and have conversations. Like still now, when I think about all my other retreats, I think about two people sat under a certain tree where they were having a conversation. And, you know, of course, the group dinners are amazing and workshops are incredible, but it's those little moments that you almost don't plan for that are the ones that stay with you forever.
Oh my gosh. Everything you just mentioned, I was already inside the retreat. Like I'm already there as you're painting that picture. And that's exactly what it is. And this is why, yes, itineraries are nice to look at, you know, the outline of what to quote unquote expect. But to your point, it's exactly like that. Like the retreat takes a life of its own. And oftentimes what you have planned will shift and pivot because of what's coming up or what people are, you know, sinking into. And is insignificant as it may sound, like Annalie said, it's like being under a big willow tree or being by the waterfalls that you don't even plan for. And that's what this 5-acre estate is so perfectly, you know, seasoned for. Really, like I could have picked any place in Arizona, and I picked this Paradise Valley estate because I've been on those grounds. I know how magical they feel. I know that when the sunset, you know, goes behind Camelback Mountain, those unobstructed views from that property, you feel something inside of you that just shifts. And I don't know another property in PV that offers this setting. So yeah, it's going to be just a really wonderful space. And there's 5 acres. And so there's plenty of room to roam and go into your little, you know, safe little cubby hole to like even sink into what's coming up for you if you don't want to be around somebody right away. I think that's another point to make, is that a lot of these retreats, and I've been to so many over the years and facilitated and hosted my own. And the one thing that I will take away that I did not like, and I do not integrate in my own, is this sort of itinerary that you have to do a checklist, that you have to do this exercise, this group activity. And I don't run mine that way. To me, it's a choose your own experience per what you're feeling in that moment. And I did the same thing in Greece. Like if you want to stay back and just have a day to yourself, please, by all means, go float in the Aegean Sea and just enjoy.
Yeah,
so,
you and I are exactly the same. I love it. I employ the you do you rule, which is like a part of certain workshops, you know, we're having certain conversations, but, you know, I will be on British hours. So I'll probably be a little bit tired at dinner. So I'm going to do me. And I won't be the one, you know, do like a margarita, but I'll probably be, my eyes will be going at, you know, 9 p.m. But if somebody on mine, if somebody's traveled over and the investment you've made in dogs, kids, family, work, whatever it is you've had to do and move and manage and sort out to get yourself there, that in itself is a massive undertaking. And I know that you don't take that for granted, and nor do I. So if you want to have a lie-in, to your point, if you want to feel the sun on your face for an extra half an hour, if you want to sit under the gorgeous tree with a book, or just take your food and do something. Mine is like, you do you, you do you. Like, this is we're adults. This is not, we're not juicing and on a boot camp. That's not what this is. This is also very important, I think, as someone that's a reformed people pleaser that listened to shame her whole life, to actually start stepping into that and going, do you know what? I'm kind of going to go against the grain here. I'm going to go and look at this thing. I'm going to go and sit over here for a bit. I'm going to take my lunch over there, because I never get to do that. Like, oh my God, please lean into your own essence. So yes, I love that. And then I also wanted to pick up on a point you say that my sessions are generally loose. I know what I'm doing, but I will look, and every night, one of the things I do when I scooch off is I sit at home with a notebook and I'm planning very, very carefully who is going to work with who the next day. And I'm not doing it to bring out your shadow. It's none of that. I'm not here for any of that. I'm doing it to think who can best support, who maybe has got some common interest, who's going to learn something from one another, what's the connection we can make here. And everyone says on the feedback, including instructors, by the way, I'll play in, or I'm sure you will, and Tracy will, I'll go in, I'll have an experience, so I'll really show up for things and work with somebody. They always say it's the pairing and there's a lot of thought goes into that. You and I aren't here chucking an itinerary together and going, brilliant, come on, Chrissy, and on Thursday we'll go out for dinner and we're like, haha, well done us. And we've marched people. It's not like having a young child that you have to exhaust, or a dog, taking him on a walk. Like, this is not like that. This is a place to gift people the presence that they don't always have most often in their lives. And the investment of the time and to come on the retreat is going to gift you that presence that I think for so many of us, it's almost impossible to access. For me, I can never find myself until I lose myself. And that is in travel. I struggle to do it here. There's always a wash to put on. There's always there's always something to do. And the only time I feel that I can really relax or release and be kind of very reflective, honestly, about myself is when I travel. And that's why it's a huge passion of mine. And I want to say, for anyone coming alone, I'm coming alone. I'm coming on my own. But also part of the group pairing, I hope, might give someone a little bit of confidence that you're not going to be, it's not like being picked for, a sport and you're picked last, or any of those things. If there are activities, it's completely, everyone will be included. You're not going to be sat at the end of the lunch table and there's big groups of 5 people coming together. It's not like that. Like, this is I've had people that have come in like mother or daughter. I've had a couple of people travel together, but they're always really happy and really keen to make sure that you're having genuine connections with other people. So, I'm coming on my own. I've never been to Phoenix before. I've not been to Arizona before. I've traveled a lot, but I'm excited. I'm traveling on my own. So if anybody else is a solo traveler that's coming into the state, or even coming into the States for it, you'll be like me.
Oh my gosh. And it's so worth it. It's so worth it. This time of year is so beautiful, by the way. Yeah. It's going to be lovely. I love that you brought up the whole, you won't be at the end of the lunch table, because I've been in so many rooms the past year. And that was a common denominator where it's kind of cliquey sometimes. And you pay all this money, you invest all your time and resources and everything. And then you get there and you're like, okay, am I like the oddball out? And you start watching these little cliques form in different corners of the room. And it just, to me, it re-traumatizes the very thing that you're trying to get away from, which is you're trying to find your people, you're trying to find your tribe. And you make all this investment only to find yourself back in the same situation that you were trying to fix. And so I like that you brought that up, because that is not how Annalie and I operate.
You and I had this conversation when we even started planning it, and it was like, there are no Regina Georges on this retreat. We literally said, there is no mean girl behavior on this retreat. So like,
no mean girls allowed on, yes,
no
ever.
No mean girls or mean guys. No mean girls or mean guys. There's just no meanness. This is a experience for people to really be able to, it's the safety piece. You can't feel safe if there are cliques. You can't feel safe if there's ego. Really beautiful place to just let yourself go. Like, one of my favorite things on my retreats is, people tend to start in, the hair's done and, all the rest of it, because you don't really know. We're kind of making our best impression. And by day 3, it's hair up, It's sweatpants. It's, like the makeup's less and less. It's, it's gorgeous. And it's just, and if that's not you, that is all good. I'm not saying that is just, I like watching the transition of, people's quirks start coming in. People start, I'm having another coffee. People are kind of bringing things they're doing. And, it becomes such a family. Like I say, the system is in relationship, and it's so beautiful to watch the relationship with the system unfold. And if there are any difficult moments, I am a fully trained, fully certified coach in systems, which means I know how to handle conflict. I know how to handle upset and emotion. I'm a trauma therapist as well. I had a very brave person, be careful what I say, come to one of mine who had just, and I mean just, found out an unbelievable betrayal from their partner in the most appalling way. And they were so incredibly brave and very fresh in to come onto a retreat and join a group, because they felt they couldn't talk to anyone that they knew about it at all. It was just too fresh, and, small places, and everyone knows everyone and all those sorts of things. And that was an incredible way to witness and help this person process just even what had happened and being together in this group.
The power that retreats can offer when you're in the right one is, you can't even put it into words. It's life-changing. It really, really is. So I'm so excited. I still can't believe we're 30 days out as we're recording this right now. It's going to be here before we know it. And we're going to be around some pretty amazing humans. I cannot wait.
I mean, I wonder if it's worth me mentioning as well, like I am sort of semi-retiring from doing EMDR because I'm writing the books. So if anyone is interested in writing, that is something that I'm really happy to work on people with. I'm happy to talk about it. I'm a globally published non-fiction author of Unapologetic, which was Hachette, which is global. And I'm currently writing a fictional book, my novel, which will be probably 27, 28 now, by the time it would come out. But that's what I'm working on at the moment. And as part of that, as part of my new creative act and process, I am doing less one-to-ones. And one of the things that to manage my time and energy is I'm only doing that in person when I'm at places like retreats. So this is not a hard sell, but Chrissy, you and I have talked about it. I will open up to do, I can't do everybody, but I will open up to do some one-to-one EMDRs for people that are attending the retreat myself. And you can join the lights of the billionaires and, beautiful human souls, the athletes, and people that just didn't deserve what happened to them and want to be set free from that. So that is something that is very exclusive to this retreat as well. You're not going to be able to you can't book in with me for it. You can have a call to see if maybe we can find a time for it, and even in the UK. So this is something that I'll probably do more on your retreat than I will this year, I'd imagine.
That's so exciting. And that's so generous of you to offer that, because it's so much more powerful. Don't you believe in person as well, when you get to experience the in-person one-on-ones much more than Zoom?
I won't do it on Zoom. Yeah. I mean, I'd be very wealthy if I did. I don't personally. I know a lot of practitioners do, but the thing with EMDR and any kind of trauma is when you open, there can be other things attached in there. So I am watching the person, I'm watching their body language. I'm doing it in this way because it's my job to unpack you and repack you safely. So if anybody's curious about that, I'm really happy to answer questions and obviously book any sessions. But yeah, that's kind of I won't be doing very many of them.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I'm so excited about your new book. I cannot wait.
I know. And you know what it's about as well. And it has to be fictional, because otherwise I can't write a non-fiction. I'm happy to say it's set in a retreat. There you go. It is set in a retreat, but not in Arizona. I'm very happy to talk about it when we're there as well. But it's about the way not to do it. There you go. The spiritual gaslighting, spiritual bypassing, fake gurus, people with no qualifications, people that take advantage of those that are vulnerable and make it worse. So the antithesis of what you and I are creating. But yeah, if anybody is interested, I think a lot of people fancy maybe thinking about publishing or self-publishing, and I'm really happy to have those conversations as well. I love it.
And it's perfect place to do it. Everyone has a book in them. I say that all the time. We all have a story, a powerful story that we can help serve and support so many other people that are going through the exact same thing. And I feel that, I've talked to a few people who are like, what's my life about? Like, it's not that big of a deal. I was like, oh, you've overcome a lot. Like, I could pull a story out of you in a heartbeat. So yeah, I think everyone should publish a book. I do. I think we all should.
I agree. So that's something grab me at dinner. I love talking about things like that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sitting with me and sharing in this lovely conversation pre-retreat. I can't wait to see all the beautiful faces that do come out for it.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it is. We have a wonderful group right now that is fully committed, and there are several dozen right now that are still on the cusp. So,
I mean, get it booked, people, because it's going to be. I think that's going to fly. And
absolutely, yeah.
Please don't miss out. Like I cannot wait to be part of this myself, and I'm working, but I'm also like, oh my god, I'm going to have most of this. So, obviously, I also know one of the big brands that's bringing some stuff in. So that's you and I were speaking about that earlier. So yeah, please don't miss out, because this is going to be just something I don't obviously we can run it again, but like anything, the right cohort, the right group comes at the right time. And if anything that you or I have said resonates, please join this one.
Yes, please do so. And all the links will be in the show notes to connect and get signed up. So thank you, Annalie, you beautiful, hot woman, you.
Straight back at you. What did I call you earlier? Sex bomb?
Sex bomb. I was listening to that and I just like belted out a huge laugh. I'm like, God, I love her. Sex bomb. Hot stuff. Yes. Like the words you don't really hear much anymore. I love it.
Hey.
Mwah. Bye.